just think logically that is a way they can win 2 lanes, and then you can sacrifice the Tide for that. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, and one of the weakness of Lich as well, if you put him on the off lane, he has a higher chance of dying. And if you die once or twice in the early game, when the Lich is so high level because of the sacrifice, you give away a lot. And being in the middle lane minimizes the chance of him dying in the laning phase. Much safer.
Yeah, but that is going to be the recap of the game so far, based on the picks and bans. Now we're going to get to the actual game, which is casted by none other than our friends Gods and Merlini. This is Big God versus Secret, game 1 of the loser bracket round 4. This is a best of 3. Guys, take us away.
Fight! Thank you, Bruno. Here we go, game 1 of Secret versus Big God. As said, I'm Gods, joining me is Merlini. Game 1 underway as Big God ventured through this Radiant jungle. Looking to perhaps put down some wards. RTK doing RTK things. He likes to get aggressive. Beat away a few kills. He's the there was a hilarious Chinese comic where in that series where he was playing the Tide Hunter, and like Burning goes from the side of the game, it's like, what setting is your watch set to? It's the ROTK difficulty watch. So there's like Mist Ravagers, Feed First Blood, and it's just hilarious. But here we have Zhao Wei going to get Fissure blocked down here. He may give up a First Blood with the damage trade. Zhao Wei, First Blood, what a Fissure from the high ground. Secret strike first and secure a bounty rune as well as an early kill.
Well, okay, Shadow Fiend was up against a difficult lane at the start, and now it's just going to get even worse for him.
Well, Razor going to be bringing out some items for himself here, as mid lane is, as you said, going to be very rough for Shadow Fiend. We'll introduce some lineups quickly here as we get things underway. On the dire side, Big God going to run Zhao 8 on the Shadow Fiend in the mid lane. Safe lane is going to be ROTK on the Titan, actually running an offensive tri lane. Lich being played by Ice Ice, Burning playing the Morphling, and Lanham going to be on your Rubik. For the Radiant side, it's Team Secret with Puppey playing the Dazzle, Arteezy on the Drow Ranger. Over in the mid lane, Kuro going to be playing your Earthshaker, supporting the Razor of S4, leaving the offlaner, Zai on the Batrider.
How did they manage to get that ward down? I thought BG had that control in the jungle, the Observer ward a little bit to the upper right. They had that, and they were able to get a sick block because of that, because they knew the team couldn't save him at that point. And generally you're scared about going into that position, especially on Secret, because that place is pretty heavily obscured by fog, but I'm surprised Big God let that go.
Wow, this is possibly going to be... Oh no, not going to dive it. Decides the tower blows is going to be too much of a threat there, but Zhao Wei, constant pressure coming his way in the mid lane, and as you said, the ward there for Secret going to just help give them a big edge as far as dealing with this offensive trial. They can see the movements when they go into the jungle, look to contest the pulls and react accordingly.
Yeah, and Shaker doesn't really have to feel scared, because generally when you're a Shaker and you're wrapping around like that, you're very scared of getting wrapped around and just gone on, because Fissure has a really long cooldown. But this way he can play very aggressively on the Shadow Fiend. So not only is it a bad matchup in the Razor versus the Shadow Fiend, he also has to deal with Drow Aura, and he has to deal with the Earthshaker, and it just keeps getting worse and worse for him. On top of that, S4 already has a boots advantage on him because of that kill.
Yeah, and that's where both solo lanes for Secret will do well here. The bonus damage, Zai's actually diving onto ROTK under the tower. Well, ROTK lower the difficulty setting. He's going to feed a second kill to Zai on Team Secret. Things looking bad for Big God here in the early game. It is just 2 minutes in, it is just a couple of kills. But all 3 lanes seem to be at least somewhat in disarray. They're looking for a kill now on Arteezy, the bottom lane. Wave forward through, and it looks like with little backup, just the Puppey Dazzle, who did have a grave but was out of range, and now he's actually got himself really out of position. There's a rotation coming in from Earthshaker. Puppey going to grave himself, but spend his money and look to maybe buy some boots here as he's trying to get a counter kill on Ice Ice. He won't get it immediately. In comes Kuro. One right click, not going to be enough. The Fissure block gets the Lich kill. Kuro going to pay for this with his life as well, and Big God pick up a huge boost to their economy here in the bottom lane. 3 kills go their way, only losing the Lich, but RTK, please. Say it ain't so. Zai not going to get this one.
He must have killed him at the first time, like right after a Kraken Shell proc, because he had like a ton of stacks on him that weren't able to come off. And Puppey, we usually see him skill Grave at level 6. This time he skilled it a little bit earlier because his tri-lane is faced against a pretty difficult lane. I wouldn't even say it's a tri-lane, because Kuro has been moving up to the top lane. He will scout him out with the Observer Ward, but ROTK, not really sure where his Kraken stack is at.
The thing is, even if you see the Earthshaker coming your way, your only option is to just back out completely out of this lane, giving free farm to the Batrider, which isn't exactly an appealing option.
Well, he can also take a gamble and TP out, but Zai's actually held a skill point for that too.
Okay.
That is pretty next level play from Zai.
Well, for Big God, they're going to keep committing to this offensive tri lane of theirs, and something they also may be looking for is to bait ROTK and TP in one of their supports. Bring in someone like Rubik, who is holding on to a TP scroll. For now, he's going to go on Puppey. Gets the lift, followed up by the Lich Nova. The body block coming in from Lamb. Puppey cannot get past, but with a Gust as well as a Tengo, he will squeak on through. Now your waveform forward, Puppey has graved himself up. Burning wants his kill. He needs to start morphling strength, though. He's taking a lot of damage, and the tower going to kill your Morphling. Morphling gets the kill. Pay for it with life. If you get the Drow Ranger, it's worth it here, but it doesn't look like they're going to get the second kill. 1-for-1 trade. Morphling for Dazzle. Not exactly favoring Big God.
That was a nice tree that he ate too. I think if he didn't eat that tree, he wouldn't have been able to move after the Gust. And Secret making the best out of a bad situation on the bottom lane. Again, it's a really difficult lane for the Drow Ranger and this Dazzle combo, but they're making it work, getting a lot of return kills.
Holy cow, look at the CS in the mid lane. 25-17 on Razor to the 9-0 of the Shadow Fiend. And the first blood, obviously the big thing there, but even just having constant Earthshaker pressure. Very reminiscent of what we saw Misery's Bane do in the Cloud9 game yesterday, where it's just, you shut down the mid lane, prevent whoever's there from getting any farm, anything whatsoever. And then at this stage of the game, it's not just about stopping their farm, it's about having that kill threat.
I didn't actually see Big God's first Observer Ward, but they only have one obs out on the map and none in the inventory, so because one of their wards got dewarded, I assume that means that Kiro's just free to go wherever he wants. And setting up for another kill on Shadow.
Yeah. They really want to. I think the second Observer was on that pool camp, which got dewarded by Secret. But as a result, Big God very limited on vision here.
The Drow Ranger also being very efficient with her gold, going for the mass agility, giving all that plus damage to everybody.
ROTK takes a lot of napalm stacks here. Zai still going out of the tower, but he's tanking tower blows. The gush now from ROTK comes into play. Zai bottling up. He's trying to bait ROTK in 6 napalm stacks. ROTK would love a Kraken proc. He's not getting it though. One more right click and the flame break, but he wands it up at the last second. He's still going to go down. Zai gets his second kill at top lane. Meanwhile, simultaneously, the Lich kills off your Dazzle at bottom.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Zai having a great time in the off lane. 3.2k net worth. He's just farming away and getting kill after kill now.
Even though the score's 5-4-5, this is really bad for Big God. They're supposed to be winning the early game with a Lich, and neither Tidehunter nor Shadowfiend are having a good time. And Shadowfiend generally will rely on the Shadowfiend will rely on the Tidehunter to protect him later, but without a Blink Dagger, he's not going to be able to counter the Batrider initiates. And Batrider's also going to have his Blink really early. He has 1970 gold. So we're talking about like a 7-minute Blink Dagger here, and this is might be even earlier if he gets another kill on ROTK. He's like 1 creep from 6. He
hasn't leveled up Lasso yet, but that kind of works in his favor. He's got all this extra points into the Firefly, which is doing big damage, and Zai gonna look to chase down RTK. Another napalm comes out. Lamb's TP'd in. Wants the return kill on Zai. Will not get it. The right click's not gonna be enough. He's still got 6 charges in. Blink Dagger, TP scroll. Blinks himself back, and he's gonna make his way back to base. Even picks up a smoke. This blink timing is one of the fastest I've ever seen. Not to mention, it's also with Boots, Bottle, a magic stick. This is just... They can't deal with this.
One of those ROTK feed games. Man, I mean, Zai playing very outside of the box too. Holding 1 skill point at 5, not getting Lasso until level 8 because of the mana restrictions. Very smart play from him overall. And I mean, when you're ROTK 2, you probably expect a Lasso, but don't expect to be burned down by level 4 Firefly.
Well, now Batrider going to make his rotation towards mid lane.
Oh
Link in, Lasso, Zhao Wei. If he wasn't having a bad enough time already, he's going to find himself with another death to his name. The TPM from Eyesight is not going to amount to too much there. I'm sure Zhao Wei just looks at it and is like, RTK dude, what's going on? How does this bat have a Blink Dagger? Like, at this point you'd probably just look...
Going aggressive on Arteezy in the bottom lane.
Okay.
Ooh, that was close.
Arteezy with an interesting little item build here. The triple Wraith Band with a 4th one possibly coming out. That's partly also where the dominance comes from. The Razor as well as the Batrider have such a better time in lane with all this bonus damage.
Yeah, I think it's a really big deal for Batrider since it makes up a huge portion of his base damage. Like 57 plus 16. I mean, that's so much higher than you would expect a Batrider to normally be doing.
Look for another kill. Is Zai the Fissure going to start things off with the Napalm, and Zai gets lifted, probably won't be, actually gets pulled in. I don't know about that, Lamb, as Zai does not decide to commit to the kill. He's actually stolen the spell here. But for now, Having the fissure in hand makes it a lot harder for Secret to get aggressive onto this Rubik. Very kind of nice and early level 6 coming out for your Rubik at least.
And Secret are just doing amazingly in this early game. Amazingly well.
It's a 3,000 net worth lead already. The only lane where it seems Big God got much done was that bottom lane where Morphling managed to get a couple of kills, did die once though, so he's 2-1 and 3, treads, Ring of Aquila. Still, he's going to have a very tough time with the damage output that Secret have with the Drow Aura, with the minus armor from the Dazzle. This is going to be a game where Morphling has to be very careful about how aggressive he gets.
I mean, look at Shadow Fiend's items. He's trying to work on treads, but he is broke. And they also don't have any stacks.
What's Big God's next move here? I mean, they're playing so far from behind. Are they just trying to sit back and avoid getting ganked, or do they try and make a move and go for a gank?
Play one of two ways. One is just like stack and farm and never play out like in sight of any dangerous place, like outside your T1s, or they can try and bait out ganks, but it looks like they're actually going to smoke in the opponent's jungle. This is really risky. They actually don't have Tidehunter here.
That could instantly blink out. Gets fissured though. That's the stolen fissure.
That's a really unexpected play from Big God. If you're Secret, you do not see that smoking coming at all. There's no Tide. You would think that they wouldn't smoke without the Tidehunter at all, but still get a pretty important kill on the Batrider. However, he does have his blink. He has done a lot of damage at this point, but it will set Xiao 8 back on the road to recovery.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So you smoke gank like that, we'll see what their next move will be. They've got the Tide up to level 7. He has Ravage online, which they may be wanting to look to fight around, and Secret just looking to itemize for the early game. A Drum of Endurance picked up by Eraser, the Arteezy build with the triple Wraith Bands. Everything is kind of early game centric for the Radiant squad.
It's difficult for Big God because they don't really have anything on BKBs.
Oh, they're looking for another kill here. S4 in the mid lane, pops his drum chance, but he's going to get pulled back. Xiao 8 gets another recovery kill here.
A stolen fissure. Again, these really unexpected plays our Big God are pulling them through the mid game. A smoke gank with 3 heroes without the Tidehunter, and then the stolen Rubik fissure to set up into a lift. And Razor thinks he's really tanky. He has treads, he has drums, he has a lot of HP to work with. At the same time, you can never discount the damage of a double or triple raise from Shadow Fiend.
Yeah. And the drums does give him some survivability. Something we used to see a lot on the Razor is the mech. Is that just too difficult of an item to build now with the mana constraints, or do you think it's still viable?
For the most part, yes. I think drums is pretty nice, though he's going to get kited a little bit by Frost Armor, and he needs a lot of mobility in these team fights. It also just gives you a lot of HP. I don't know, I personally still like the mech build, but a lot of Razor Sight mana restraints as the main reason for not getting the mech. I mean, tread swap, though, not that big of a deal, I would say, personally, but yeah.
Okay. Well, Secret now just looking to play the kind of the farm battle. They don't. I think they've realized they've given up a few crucial kills. They don't want this to. They're probably looking to get these next couple of big items and then try and take some objectives. Because end of the day, late game Shadow Fiend, Morphling, 2 big carries who can build around a Tide Ravage, probably win the late game. To me, it feels like Secret kind of don't want to let this game drag out too long.
I don't completely agree with that, just because I think Secret has a way better BKB lineup than Big God. Okay, if they BKB, what do they have? Maybe Blink Ravage? That's unreliable though. And then on the flip side, like, what do BG have on BKB? Or sorry, what do Secret have on BKBs? They have Blink Lasso, they have Weave into Razor damage, they have Drow damage, they have Blink Echo. So you can play the farm game, but I wouldn't feel comfortable if you're Big God going to this super late.
And you're also it's Team Secret who have most of the map control right now. They can kind of look to at least farm more in more aggressive places, spread up their heroes a bit more, and use the Batrider to try and find those pickoffs. It looks like the Batrider is going to make a move down towards the bottom lane, has the blink available, and Lamb is going to move fast. The Lasso does not catch into him. A Flame Break pushes him back as well, so Rubik will not be caught out here at the bottom lane. So far, Lamb's been the big playmaker for this Big God team as far as getting them back into this game. As he's been, a lot of the games Big God have won, his line has been absolutely incredible throughout this tournament, and We'll see what he can do here so far on the Rubik. The Fissure Steals have been nice.
Lottom has just been playing amazingly and keeping up this ancient stack too for catch up for
Dire's bottom
ROTK.
tower is under
And looking
attack.
at the Radiant Wars, they're not looking to play super aggressively with Batrider. It's just one ward position on the bottom lane, one in the mid, but none super deep into the opponent's jungle to scout out Shadow Fiend, for example.
Radiant's middle
And
tower
that one
is
gets
under
immediately
attack.
taken down. Secret have to play this a little bit more passively now.
Yeah.
They had a really good early game, but now it's at that point where Big God has recovered, and the Secret can't snowball off that and take T1s as easily as they would like.
Having the Tide Ravage, having also the Shadow Fiend mech now, does give them a lot of options as far as taking some fights, getting a bit more aggressive. They smoke up, and we'll see where they're headed here. This could even be something as as sneaky as a Roshan, although they don't have the best lamp to do so. It seems they'd prefer to go for a fight around the Ravage. ROTK leading this one off. Puppey, as well as Kuro, kind of out of position here. Puppey now hiding in the trees. He's being pinged out and burning. Going to waveform through. No opportunity to use a Grave. Kuro also in trouble in the TP, and Ravage is going to be coming out. Hedges 2. Chainfrost to follow. S4 and Kuro on the defense now. The Chainfrost still bouncing mostly the creeps, unfortunately. Zai will cop a bounce now. And no one on the Big God team going down. They've got 2 here. The Echo Slam coming out from Kuro brings down your Shadow Fiend, though. A 2-for-1 trade with the carry Shadow Fiend taken out of the picture, but still a decent result for Big God. Getting the kill on the Razor, getting the Dazzle as well, and now they're going to get a Tier 1 tower
Radiant
possibly
structures
claimed
are
here, although it looks
fortified.
like Secret will at least come in and try and find this deny.
Still a risky play from Big God to push this.
Yeah, it seems gets down to deny range. Only a 2,500 gold lead here, so by no means a big lead.
They don't have any
Radiant's middle
cooldowns.
tower
Oh, the Secret, they want to go in with a lift on Zai, going to prevent him from being able to lasso anyone. Lamb, he's making big plays on this Rubik, but he does end up getting punished here. Burning now in trouble as well. Not doing much right-click damage. Secret actually used the defensive weave on themselves before going in, and as a result, a bit tricky for Big God to actually fight back.
Bottle refill trick by Burning and Xiao 8. Ghost up there first, not terribly common, but I'd say really good versus Razor, really good
Dire's
versus
bottom
Dazzle, really good
tower
versus
is
Drow
under
Ranger,
attack.
and the Secret actually going to smoke up.
Oh, there's a Shadow Fiend illusion though.
Oh, 2 people bought that bait.
Mask of Madness and everything. That's one of those kind of mistakes you don't normally see come because the
Yeah.
smoke doesn't get revealed, but
Still,
I think
it
they thought
happens.
I think they thought it was an illusion rune, so they could like instantly kill it and then maybe still go for Roshan. And they're like, wait, it's a
Radiant's
replicate. We
top
can't actually
tower
kill it
is
off.
under
It's going to
attack.
scout us out. And meanwhile, RTK, the ancient stack you talked about that Rubik has set up for him, is going to give him enough money for his Blink Dagger, which gives Big God
16 minutes is pretty good for him, considering his start. 0 and 3.
With this initiation tool, I imagine once Ravage comes back up, Big God going to be
Dire's
looking to take
bottom
fights
tower
once
is
more.
under
Zai smoked up. He's looking for Burning.
Not really a kill he can get on his own, as Burning runs
Radiant's
into
top
Zai,
tower is under
not
attack.
being able to prevent him from getting that regen rune. And that smoke not really achieving too much. 2 smokes in a row from Secret. One towards Roshan, which gets revealed. Another one towards the top lane. Those are precious smokes, well, especially if you look forward 5-10 minutes from now when they're going to be looking to kind of take objectives and not having these. The other thing is Secret have yet to push down a single tower. Do you feel like that's just the nature of their lineup, or is it more just a playstyle thing where they're not putting on enough pressure?
I don't think they can put that much pressure. Like, Drow is so squishy right now. She has 1,000 HP and Mask of Madness. She can like easily die if she gets ravaged, and their initiate's really risky too. Like if they initiate on a Shadow Fiend, they don't pop them before the mech. They get ravaged, they mech up, and then everyone dies on the and also Lanham can like lift them to counter initiate too, and they can't burst down on Morphling either because he can just morph while the lasso is going on, unless they get a Drow silence on them. But at the same time, you know, they
Bottom
can't
lane,
really put Drow.
Kuro gets caught up by the Blink Dagger here. Chainfrost's going to be used in everything. Kuro gets graved up. That's just going to delay the inevitable as he gets brought down.
Oh no, another fissure steal by Rubik. That is really bad for Secret.
That was probably the
Dire's
one thing
middle
Kuro
tower
didn't
is
want to do
under
before he
attack.
died.
Yes.
Is give away that vision.
Dire's
Exactly.
structures are
The fissure
fortified.
is a really big deal, just because, I mean, Rubik doesn't have a Blink Dagger, so if he has to go in and lift, he puts himself at risk of being lassoed and forced that back in. But with Fissure, he can just stay way far in the back and just unload his arsenal of spells.
It's probably the best spell in this game you can steal.
I would say
As
so.
far as like in a team fight, you'd love to maybe steal an Echo Slam, but as far as initiation tools and just having
Echo
control the
Slam's
tempo.
melee range. I would say that
Yeah.
Fissura's better.
Okay.
Plasma Field's decent for damage too, just because he's always at high range. Weave is also pretty good, but I would say Fissure is the
Yeah.
#1 spell to steal.
And
Dire's
second
top
time this
tower
game,
is
and
under
we'll see
attack.
Xiao in the enemy jungle. They're
Radiant's
trying to take
bottom
objectives
tower
now.
is
It's
under
Big God
attack.
who are the ones actually controlling the tempo. They've got the Blink on the Tide, level 2 Ravage, and as you mentioned, Arteezy so squishy on the Drow range and not really equipped for fighting into this Big God squad. And once you start taking some towers, you put an E-Blade onto Burning, and suddenly you've got a
Radiant's
big
bottom
threat in this
tower is under
Morphling.
attack.
They also have a lot of armor.
Dire's
We're
middle
talking about
tower
Shadow
is
Fiend with
under
Mech,
attack.
we have Frost Armor. On Lich, we have a Morphling who's Agi Morph, so he has 15 agility, and a
Radiant's
Ghost
bottom
Scepter.
tower
Like, none
has
of these are
fallen.
really susceptible to the right clicks from Drow Ranger, and she can get like a couple of right clicks
Dire's
before she has to
structures
back
are
off
fortified.
immediately. Tidehunter with Kraken, Max Kraken, that is.
Dire's
The
top
lanes
tower
went so
is
well
under
for
attack.
Secret, but here they are, not going to be able to get the top tier 1 tower, gets denied by
Dire's top
Burning,
tower
and
has been denied.
he's going to farm out this top lane, just 600 away from the E-Blade, so perhaps the ROTK difficulty setting was just perfect here, because I expected them to be further behind and in trouble based on the laning stage.
Yeah, I mean, that it is rare that you see someone lose a one-on-one matchup that badly. Just unprepared. I mean, I guess that's ROTK style, though. High risk, high reward. High risk, medium reward, maybe.
Your Rubik's even got a Blink Dagger now to go with his
Zai's
burn.
been showing himself, I think, a little bit too much. I mean, he was split pushing top and getting the tower, but at the same time, if Battle Rides on the map, no one's scared. Like, or what are they gonna do? Like, initiate with a Weave, initiate with Earthshaker without a Blink Dagger. Like, none of these heroes are big enough to go in. Razor doesn't have BKB, so without Bat Rider as their initiation, Big God can just take whatever objectives that they want.
That's a really good point, because like you look at Zai, he's almost the top farmer on this Secret team, and you think he has played amazingly, he dominated this lane, but he's making it so that Big God can take Roshan, move around the map because of how visible he is on the map.
He can't show. I think he should be like farming the opponent's jungle and maybe stacking up his own and trying to control objectives like Roshan. I don't think they should be giving a Roshan away that easily. Like, they have Plasma Field spam, they have Weave, Earthshaker can block them off, and of course Bat Rider. Bat Rider, King of Roshan.
Well, here's your E-Blade coming out now, with Burning having that. Xiao Wei, he's going holding on to the Aegis, and BKB, I believe, on the Courier coming out for your Shadow Fiend as Lamb. Blink Dagger in hand. There's your Blink Lasso, going to start things off on a Xiao Wei. He's got the Aegis, though. This is going to possibly be turned around. Kuro's going to get lifted up in the side here. Xiao Wei still getting his damage drain. Can't really turn and fight just yet. He's waiting for his backup to come, and with the Aegis being popped, it seems Secret don't want to stick around for a second life. They're going to TP themselves out, take the Aegis, and get out.
That's BKB up on Xiao Wei.
Burning sees Puppy. He's got the shotgun. Waveform forward. E-Blade. Adaptive. He doesn't actually... He hits the adaptive too early. Now he gets silenced up. Burning is just dead. Big misplay.
Just as well.
Oh, dear.
They also saw him coming with the Observer Ward. I don't think he
Radiant's top tower is
expected
under attack.
Dazzle to be reinforced.
Radiant structures are
Top
fortified.
lane. Zai gets lifted up, thrown forward, and he's going to get picked off here. So a couple uncharacteristic
Radiant's top
pickoffs
tower
perhaps,
has
both on
fallen.
Zai's Batrider as well as the Burning Morphling, and kind of ends up being a one-for-one trade, although not exactly two linked events.
You mentioned how badly Shadow Fiend was getting owned in lane, and look at his CS now. He's actually has more CS than
Dire's
Razor right
bottom
now.
tower is
And
under
I mean, that's one
attack.
of the strengths of Shadow Fiend. He doesn't mind if he has a slightly underhanded matchup in mid just because he farms the jungle at an absolutely ridiculous pace. He's also much better at Roshan than a lot of the current mid heroes. So this is why Shadow Fiend has been picked up a lot, and Xiao Wei has so much farm.
RTK at the Ancients here. Going to be a lift here. Lamb in the right place at the right time. He's 10 gold short of his Blink Dagger. Kuro saying, please, just give me a bit of time here.
Lanham didn't steal a spell. He didn't want to steal the
Okay.
chant.
Okay. Does he still have the fissure?
You know.
Okay.
Static Link.
I guess not a bad spell to have. It's not so much for the damage for yourself, but more for the damage drain. But
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want. What's he gonna do? Go on the Razor when he's beating his face? That's really risky. But he does have his blink, which is the big deal.
top lane, Zai.
Dire's
He's
top
got backup
tower
here with
is
S4
under
right
attack.
next to him, so Xiao is going to be very careful not to get too aggressive here. Has Lamb once again sing behind him. Blink lift is there and available. Blink comes in with a Ravage, and S4 BKBs it off in time, but it's going to be Zai possibly going down here. He has been graved up. They've killed off the Earthshaker only in the previous fight. Here comes your adaptive strike, shotgun Morphling, killing the Dazzle, and Zai surviving thanks to the grave. He's got the blink out if he needs to, and Just trying to kite Big God as much as possible. Huge damage deal, plus 224 damage for S4, but he's going to get chain frosted without a BKB. He goes down, taking the Tide and Shadow Fiend with him. A 2-for-2 trade in the top lane, but some space created for Mr. Babaev in the bottom lane.
I think Arteezy is playing this correctly, though. He hasn't died ever since the laning phase, and he's playing very, very safe. And Drow Ranger can't afford to be like more behind than she already is. And Secret don't really have like that great like high ground push, so they can't end the game that early. Also, they missed the first Roshan too, so that means that Drow is just going to be extremely, extremely weak and super easy to kill. Like if they see her, it's just going to be boom shotgun, and he doesn't have a BKB. I saw him have an Ogre Club. Is that a Sanjin Yasha or a BKB? So now they have 2 BKBs, one up on the Razor, one up on Drow Ranger. They probably need one on Bat Rider too, especially now that he has a gem. This is a somewhat risky pickup. Looks like he feels rather safe because they don't have Ravage up right now, but he still is very likely to lose it. He almost died in the last fight with the Grave.
Yep, he has picked up the Ogre Club, so he's building towards that. As we'll see Kuro make his move forward down this bottom lane. They have smoked up, and Lamb is maybe going to be tagged up. It's a lasso onto Burning. They've caught him out in the side here, but he's already morphing strict. This may be enough to save his life. Can he get the waveform out? The Echo Slam is there. Burning gets the waveform, and he's going to be kept alive for now. Doesn't have the E-Blade, and 2 Big God heroes hit the deck with Arteezy getting himself a double kill. Oh dear. This is not the kind of next move that Big God were hoping for. Losing their Morphling, and Burning's farm and item progression this game has not been very Burning-esque. 3 deaths.
That was a really big kill.
Ice Armor slowing down the push on the tower, but not really too much significance.
Yeah, that was such a big turnaround. They had 2 key items, first a gem and the Drow Ranger BKB, so they feel very confident going to their base.
10 seconds until a Ravage. That's around when Burning is going to be respawning on his Morphling. RTK going to get tested by the Napalm. Looks like Secret. Oh, Arteezy. Bit scared there when he saw the Tide blink in. Pops a BKB a bit prematurely, and RTK wants to chase, but a great vision from Kuro going to block any further advances as Secret will be able to retreat safely. Oh, Puppy, he gets out.
One of Secret's biggest strengths, I think, is their experience in pushing high ground. They will very rarely push high ground too early, and they will rarely get picked off on their way out. And that's a mistake that you'll see many teams make. They get in, look at how much damage they got on the T3. They got 1,300 damage out of 1,600. That's a lot. T3 25 minutes in, and it's a very close game too. They're only possessing a 1,000 gold lead. Rarely will you see teams be able to do that, and without any losses. So Kuroki covers their butts with a very nice fissure on the backside.
And that's where you're probably okay with Arteezy. Maybe not need to use his BKB, but just guaranteeing that they get out safely, get the damage done, and they can come back once they find another pickup. Perhaps the next smoke gank. They do have to be a bit worried about Big God as far as their next item pickups in the Tide's Refresher, as well as the Aegis, which is going to be respawning in the next minute or 2.
I think that Big God might need a gem of their own, just so Secret can't run around. I think Bat Rider was a little quiet in the 11 to like 20 minute phase of the game, and now that he has a gem, now that he's working on his BKB and has BOTs with global reach, he is going to be a threat to deal with. A lot of these heroes are just very vulnerable. We saw how quickly the Morphling died without a Manta style. I guess even with a Manta, he'd probably still die. And Shadow Fiend, even though he has a BKB, he can still die very quickly because Drow hits like a truck right now, almost 300 damage.
Yeah, well, Shao doing what he can. You mentioned that a lot of these heroes do have pretty good armor on the Big God side, and they're going to need all the survivability they can get, because Burning is not really doing what he wants to. He's only got the shotgun for now, doesn't have any new big item coming his way that soon. Just 1,700 gold, so as far as Morphling's concerned, is there any big item that stands out that you feel like he's going to need for his next item?
BKB's one of the safer choices. I think Manta's pretty good though, although it might get echoed down. He needs to survive during the fights. I think that's actually priority number 1 for him. There's going to be a lot of things that he can't really burst through, namely the couple of BKBs and the Grave. So he's going to have to stay alive for a long time in team fight. So he can go like a safe build, like BKB Lincoln's or BKB Manta, I would say. BKB Lincoln's is really good versus the Bat Rider, though.
All right. Speaking of Manta, it looks like Arteezy on the Drow Ranger has completed his. As Razor up to 3.5k gold as well. And this is where Secret, all 3 of their cores surpassing the 10k net worth mark. And for Big God, Tide, not quite up there. The Morphling, well, he's just over 10k. You'd hope for more on him, considering he is your kind of main carry this game, or at least that's what Burning traditionally does. Seems more there's going to be more pressure on Jiawei to get a lot done in these fights, but going for the mech build on Shadow Fiend is building into a Butterfly now as well. It's kind of a more defensive build coming out from the SF with this mech BKB.
It's still going to be so tough to counter-initiate the bat. Like, they've been really reliant on Lana and being able to get the blink lift.
Do they see ROTK? Where is the gem? The Batrider is not here at the bottom lane for now. He's back at base, and looks like this Invis Tide is getting a lot of good scouting information. He's going to look to set up for his team. The TP's coming in for the Batrider. No, he cancels it! Oh dear. This could be bad here. ROTK chasing in hot pursuit. The Invis room was not spotted being picked up. It looks like it will expire though. The rest of Big God just couldn't quite catch up to where ROTK was.
It's a slower Roche. They actually need to kill this Observer Ward. They have a sentry up on the high ground, but they haven't been able to clear it. They don't have vision. They can't leave that ward up if they want to do Roche. Oh, they smoke actually behind vision.
Okay. That's one of those things where that ward I feel like gives crazy good vision, but if you know it's there, you can kind of fake around
I
it.
think they know it's there though. Secret did just cast a weave. They casted a weave right here about like 30 seconds ago.
Misfortune for Big God. They go into Roshan about 5 seconds before it respawns. Ice Ice is being patient. He wants to wait it out. He's saying, please, just come out. No! It was going to be like 2 seconds later. Now Rubik goes in. Oh no!
This might be better for them. They're going to get a pick off on Puppy.
Oh, they find, yeah. Oh, what? Puppy? Walks past them, the waveform through. Now Puppy going to be kind of isolated here. Going to go for a grave, but can't really TP with all these heroes around. And the Adaptive Strike going to set things up here. And now they can go into Roshan.
Not the worst thing in the world. It looked like it was going to be really unfortunate for them, but a free pick off on Dazzle. That's worth it.
Yeah. They will lose the top tier 2 tower, and it just feels like it took them longer than needed to find something out of that. But in the end, it's a Roshan as well as a kill on Puppy, just for their tier 2 top tower. So it seems like a pretty good trade for Big God. Not to mention, they kind of want to buy some time. They want this Tide refresher. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Tide to wait it out and find the perfect time to go into that Blink Ravage, because with all these BKBs on Team Secret, it's going to be difficult to get that good timing.
So generally this duo, this Requiem plus Anger Smash is really detrimental to any sort of right-clickers, but I actually don't think Secret's right-clickers worry too much about it, just because they have Precision Aura, they also have Dazzle Weave, which is, I guess doesn't really work for your base damage, but it's still a lot of damage to work with, and of course Static Link. Static Link is going to be independent of that for the most part, so they still have a lot of physical damage even without, even with minus 110%.
Hey man, those big ES totems, that doesn't get hurt by it either. ES says, I don't care about your Anchor Smash. Arteezy now going to get caught out here, does have the BKB, and in hot pursuit is the rest of the Big God team as Burning. He's got himself a haste rune. Arteezy just going to go for a BKB, TP out, land with a stolen grave. Bit of a panic play coming out from your Rubik, but he was just looking to track Arteezy there and forcing out the BKB. This is one of those games where if this drags 40, 50 minutes, having 5-second BKBs against a Refresher Tide, as well as an E-Blade Morphling, can really hurt.
He's looking for Puppy. He has a haste rune.
Puppy vision going to come his way. The E-Blade is there. And we will see the Adaptive Strike still being used. Burning wants to go for this one. Has he got a replicate out? The last right click not going to do enough. Burning going to start morphing streak now, and it's Rubik Lamb, the hero of this Big God team, finding what's necessary. And he finishes the job.
Oh man.
Radiant's middle tower
BG turning up the screws. They have Aegis of the Immortal with 3 minutes left. Is this a time for them to go high ground? Really difficult versus Batrider and Earthshaker.
Well, we've seen Arteezy make some great decisions when it comes to counter-pushing other lanes and forcing teams back to TP, assuming they actually have TPs, which is the case. Big God going to send in Lamb forward, and he's going to try and find what pickoffs he can, but he's going to be careful here. Cancels the Batrider TP in with the Boots of Travel. Nice play from him with the Fade Bolt, and looks like with that Secret,
he doesn't clear out the illusions. The illusions almost got this T3. He could have at least Anchor Smashed them.
Wow. ROTK, please.
Please.
Morphling, I feel like with E-Blade is also one of the better heroes at forcing teams to use their BKBs early in the fight. Because if you just shotgun someone, even if they dodge some of the damage of the BKB, it still forces it out, and that makes it a lot easier for Tide to come in with a Ravage later on.
I definitely agree with that. I actually think Morphling's pretty darn good versus BKB heroes.
Well, we'll see what Secret have in mind. They're going to keep Arteezy farming. He's managed to keep on track with the Shadow Fiend, as has S4 on the Razor. And even though they have an Aegis, it doesn't look like Big God are going to be able to get too much in terms of objectives at this time, for the time being.
They have so much armor on Razor now, though. 28 without Weave. Going for the AC post BKB.
Big God do have a lot of magical damage. You look at Shadow Fiend with his ultimate, Lich Chain Frost, Morphling E-Blade. I mean, the Tide Ravages. Secret have the BKBs, but if Big God can kite around the BKBs, back off when they're used, even with all this armor, I can still see Big God being able to deal with these Secret core heroes.
Yeah, it's about cooldown management for Big God, and of course managing Secret's BKBs. Can they control it? Can they pop them before they pop BKB with Ravages? Are they going to wait out the Ravages? Can they have damage control during the BKBs with a Requiem and Tide Hunter Anchor Smash? Like, it's a lot of minor things that have to go into the gameplay.
Someone needs to defend top lane. Secret, despite not having the Aegis themselves, are actually poking at the high ground here.
They don't have any catch aside from Tide Hunter or Ravage, and I mean, I guess Rubik can go in, but he has to be very scared because he can get blown up in a matter of seconds without a Ghost Scepter.
He should be, but he's been playing super aggressive. He did have the Grave for a while, which has now expired, so looking for a new spell to steal is Lamb. Who's got Blink and Force Staff on himself. He's been in 13 of these 16 kills for Big God, and does feel like he's been the big playmaker of this team.
They also have a gem up on Ice Ice. This is really important. They can't let a Secret roam free on their side of the map, which is pretty much what they've been doing.
Oh, Big God, after kind of straying too far into this enemy jungle, realize they have to quickly got to get out. Zai has a Blink and a Force Staff, and Xiaowei may have overstayed his welcome.
They have to de-ward this. Actually, I guess it's expired now, but that ward lasted full duration. That's a very important point for BG to hold too, because they need to be able to farm the Ancients to keep up with Secret's farm, and of course, keeping up with Roshan. And they have a gem, so there's not really an excuse for that still to be up. However, they do have the ROTK refresher. I believe that was scouted out earlier, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to Secret.
Yeah, I believe he's had it for a good couple of minutes now, I think, and shown himself on the map during that time.
In late game, who do you favor?
I feel like if Big God can execute, they've got the harder to execute draft, but I feel like they've got the better late game draft. If they can kite around the BKBs, hit the Ravages, I give them a slight edge. We'll see Secret now run into Xiaowei. They get the lasso off, but Xiaowei got the BKB off. They can't burst him down, at least not easily. S4 trying to steal damage here, getting a lot out of Xiaowei, and Xiaowei, all he can do is run. May look for a Requiem of Souls here, but he doesn't want to die in the process.
That's 3 BKBs. They have to back off.
Ravage. ROTK not going to go for it just yet. He decides with Xiaowei as low as he is, and the Aegis no longer in hand.
That was a sick BKB pop by Xiaowei. If he didn't pop that BKB, that would have been disastrous for Big God.
It does look like we're going to that late game, and we'll see how things pan out, how the itemization works, and
it's still anyone's game. I don't think anyone, like either team, has the edge. I mean, they have the potential to make big plays too, because you can see how quickly the timing is on the Blink Lasso. It's like they have to Blink Lasso ASAP to prevent him from BKBing, and Xiaowei has to BKB ASAP as soon as he sees him, and they can outplay that with like a Morph Replicate on the Shadow Fiend. What are you gonna do? Right click it, and then he BKBs in your face, and then you just don't get to initiate. Like, and these mind games are possible from Big God, and at the same time, like Secret, they have the potential for big plays, as Batrider has always been top pick material because of this.
Execution will be key, and yeah, I gotta say, looking forward to see how things pan out, because right now, game 1 of this best of 3, loser bracket, small final, round 4, I don't know what you want to call it, we've called it like 6 different names as far as what this match is, but the loser of this match gets 4th place, winner will advance to the next round and be battling it out to get into the grand finals against Team Evil Geniuses, who are awaiting the winner. So I'm gonna walk past Observer Ward, make sure you clear that one out.
That was also really good timing by, I would say, both teams. Like, Secret knew that Xiaowei's Aegis was down, and at the same time, like, Big God knew that Secret was going to make a move because of Aegis was down too. So both of these teams are just very aware of what's going on in the game and playing very well.
Oh, there's your illusion bait. That's just a mantra illusion.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
See, the outplays it. If that like happens and they BKB, they just get obliterated by Ravage if they can't get out in time. Like, and it's just so difficult for Secret to get a good initiate.
Well, and that's the other thing with the Bat Rider. When he goes in for that Blink Lasso, a lot of the time he's going to want to BKB.
Yes.
Just because there's a Blink Lift, there's a Blink Ravage. If he doesn't BKB with the Lasso, there's a good chance he gets countered. And hey, he never actually knows if it's a replicate, if it's an illusion.
Yeah, at some point I think he's actually going to have to get a Hex to maybe deal with. Actually, I don't know. It's just a difficult life for that Rider.
On top lane, there's going to be no Lasso available. Burning's got a replicate, but he gets blown up. Good burst damage coming out of Secret, and that was with ROTK nearby. He's got the Blink Ravage. May look to fight this one. 2 seconds until Blink.
Too much agility.
Got to respect the damage output there, and Kuro got him with the big Blink Echo Slam. That was without Lasso as well. Lasso now back up for Zai, as he's going to TP himself back home.
Yeah, Xiaowe's been very, very careful, and he's died 4 times. Burning, I would say, hasn't been as careful, but he's also died 4 times.
It kind of feels like a rare off game for Burning on the Morphling. He's...
Yeah, the mid play on Dazzle, he's actually pretty low on farm. He's number 4 in net worth and significantly behind Shadow Fiend, Razor, and Drow. So yeah, he's not as farmed as he could be.
Yeah. He's going to get time to catch up, because right now it doesn't look like either team going to be pressuring the high ground. Secret do have the probably better ability to pressure the high ground should they ever win a fight. They've got Drow with huge physical damage, Razor with the Aghanim Scepter. I imagine this is going to be a great game for a refresher as well on that Razor. Having a double BKB against the Tide Ravagers, having double ultimate when you're trying to siege.
Big guy just lucked out and no Roche respawn. It's 1.5 minute right about average, but if it's a 45-second one, I think Secret get that for free, or they force a Morphling buyout. So that's really fortunate for Big Guy. Burning's mistake almost cost him dearly.
There's your Roshan respawn. Right now, neither team with any vision up on the map as a result of all these gems. We will see the Lasso come in. ROTK hoping for an anchor, or hoping for a Kraken Shell soon. He's going to get slowed down by the Frost Arrows. Throws a Ravage, but that gets dealt with by the BKB. Secret in, well, a fantastic position. They're moving forward. Kuro goes in with a Blink Stun, but Xiaowei BKB's off the vision, though catches 2 behind. High size. He goes down. 2 dead on the Big God side, and without ROTK using a buyback, they don't have that secondary Ravage, and S4 surviving on tiny bit of HP. Burning now in trouble, gets stunned up. Nope, he dodges it with a waveform. Gem hits the deck as Lich did die there, and the E-Blade comes out from Burning. 3 heroes dead, and this is where ROTK probably going to be forced to buy back on his Tidehunter.
Dire's bottom tower has
That's the thing about Bat Rider. They dodged what, like 2 or 3 lasso ganks, and then all he has is 1. And it doesn't matter what hero. He can get it on Morphling, he can get it on Shadow Fiend, he can get it on Tidehunter, and the result's still the same. A devastating team fight loss, and a Rax immediately to fall.
Well, they're going to hold on to the Tide buybacks now. Burning and Xiaowei marching forward, looking to kind of deal with this push themselves, but already bottom lane Rax claimed, and there comes your next Lasso. It's going to be Xiaowei pulled in, and he's going to pop like a pinata if he's not careful. The silence comes out. There's your Blink! Echo Slam! Kuro with a fantastic dunk. Xiaowei, down he goes. Has a buyback available as well. Burning does not want to die here. His morphing streak will barely get himself out of there, as the Kuro Fissure will cover the Secret retreat once again. Kuro's urging of this game has been on point.
2 lassos, 2 kills. That is rough for Big Guy. The Bat Rider is just causing them so many problems right now.
Big God, I feel like, have to get this Aegis now if they can. They haven't got Shadow Fiend alive though, and that's where it's just a risky play.
I think Secret just go in. They go in a Roche, and if Shadow Fiend buys back, they back off, wait for a Lasso gank, and then proceed to Roche.
And Secret is still pretty well equipped to fight here. The Lasso at max level has such a short cooldown. It's going to be just the Earthshaker Echo Slam, which has a long cooldown as far as their ultimates are concerned.
Did Tidehunter have Ghost last fight? I don't think he did.
No.
He needed the Ghost. I thought he was actually going to Ghost after the Lasso, but he didn't have it.
I don't think so.
He needed it to mitigate Drow's damage.
He also could have potentially bought back and gone for a second Ravage as well, but he decided to hold on to it right after dying. And we're going to see, well, another Lasso come in once again. RTK, this time there's going to be a lift coming out from Lamb. Chain Frost as well, and it's a counter Lasso. Lamb pulls the Bat Rider. Who you fooling now? And Lamb not going to get the kill immediately. Zai's BKB, pretty decent duration. Great Fissure from Kuro. Catches out both the 2 supports, and Lamb as well as Ice Ice both go down. Looked like a nice play from Lamb. It was pretty flashy, but the end result was not what Big God were hoping for, as that opens up Roshan for the tanking.
Man, Xiaowei just respawned. Burning was busy dealing with Arteezy on top, and Man, Arteezy died one time in lane, now 6-1 and 5, just constantly putting pressure in all the lanes without dying. Number 1 in terms of net worth, always there to follow up to, I mean, this is such a difficult game.
Burning goes in with the Ravages. Aegis on the ground. Burning gonna snatch it. Second Ravage comes in now. Puppey dead to start off the fight. They've lost their Dazzle. No Graves available now, but may not matter. Big God lacking their supports. And Arteezy going for the top racks. He's got the melee. He's got the range. He's gonna fight Zhao Wei as well. And Zhao Wei has no defensive capabilities just yet. The second TP will scare off Arteezy. He's going to look to play things safe, but it's Burning as well as RTK in all sorts of trouble. Without the Ravages, S4 is just too damn farmed here. He's so far ahead of this Morphling, and with the Eye of the Storm, Burning's completely out of mana. He's going to go down to this S4 Razor, chasing him, gets force up away. Ice Ice will save his life. Elsewhere, it's RTK battling it out with Kuro. Kuro forced up to the high ground. In comes your bat, and Zai does what he's done so many times this game, and it's outplay RTK. Well, that looks like Big God. Their tournament life, well, tournament game 1 life here, maybe coming to an is a best of 3. Requiem of Souls comes out on S4 and the Gus gets manted off, but right now, Secret with bot lane as well as the melee racks at top takers are in a fantastic position. Even with the Aegis snipe, Big God just don't have much left. It's a 15,000 plus net worth lead.
At least they preserved the Aegis on Morphling. That was really important. At the same time, Secret, they can buy their time. They've been picking and choosing when they want their initiates and just going off the back of Zai's Batrider. Whenever they want to fight, they use Lasso and they cover the map with Gem and wards, and if not, then they just play passively and get huge on Drow Ranger and split push and threaten a lot of towers. So this game is theirs. Observer Wars are down, and Ice Ice did end up losing the Gem in that recent engage. And that was, I mean, that was a sick. It was two-man play too. It was like Earthshaker and Batrider dealing with 3 heroes over there, and even with a huge attempt outplay by Lanum, they just didn't have any of the damage dealers there.
Well, looks like Secret now going to look to pick up their next couple of items. Refresher being worked on for your Razor, who's got the Perseverance in hand. I guess other possibility is the Lincoln Sphere, but it feels like with the BKB and the Eye of the Storm, you just want to go for that
Yeah,
refresher.
he doesn't need Lincolns this game.
Dire's middle
And Tide going to buy a second
attack.
gem for Big God here. Recognizing the importance of the map control right now. With Secret, for the first time in this game, it actually feels like they have some decent vision. They had the one ward above the Roshan for a while, but right now, they see a lot of the Big God movements around the map.
All it takes is like one smoke ink, and then Big God is almost done for. Checking
Big
buyback
God going
status.
for the smoke themselves.
Not that many people have buybacks. None of the important, I guess, Radiant's important heroes do.
All 3 calls on the Secret team, and Kuro actually going to walk in. He does not have buyback. The one hero without buyback on Team Secret.
Dire's
Going to get picked off, but Arteezy is
pressure.
pressuring down the mid lane, so Big God cannot really commit to the base here. They want more kills out of this, but they've got to get back and defend against the Arteezy Drow Ranger. His decision-making throughout this tournament on heroes when split pushing and just his kind of quote-unquote rat Dota play in general has been amazing.
They BOT'd mid with Zai too. They're looking for a pick-off on whoever comes
It's
back.
going to be Burning. He has not got to replicate up, and he has got the Aegis here. Zai may look to just burn it anyways. Nope, decides to blink to the high ground and find an actual kill.
Yeah, that could have been a big play. And again, Secret get a pick, or BG get a pick, but they can't do anything with it. Even though they have the Aegis, the split push threat from Arteezy is just too strong in this game.
I mean, at this point, Kuro tanking a smoke gank that doesn't lead to any towers going down, and Secret themselves actually taking the T2 tower is almost a 2k trade for them. Lamb, again, the Stolen Fissure coming into play as Arteezy gets scattered in the Radiant jungle, but that's just a hero that these two kind of supports can't really deal with.
They'd ideally want to smoke gank Arteezy and then push. And they're getting everyone but Arteezy in these fights.
Well, Refresher almost going to be picked up here. Just waiting to make sure he has the reliable gold needed for his buyback on S4, and we'll see what the next move for Secret's going to be. Probably want to wait out the Aegis. I feel like you can go for that high ground push, but there's no point trying to do it while the Aegis is on the Morph lane.
Yeah, it's just simply too risky. They have 45 seconds that they need to wait. That's almost nothing in the span of this entire game.
Zai, it looks like, with the Shivers Guard completed, suddenly gets an Oblivion Staff, so we may see a second Refresher Orb coming out on Team Secret. One
Surprised
lasso
he
not
didn't go
enough, let's
Sheep.
go for a second.
Yeah, I guess BKB plus Shivas is really strong. He's not going to die in BKB. Oh, Shadow Fiend finally has some damage now. with the Crystallis and the Manticile up. However, I mean, there's just some heroes that aren't very useful right now. Like Earthshaker is still really, really useful. I feel like Lich's usefulness is almost none. Now Frost Armor, I mean 8 armor in the grand scheme of things, not that much mitigation.
Well,
for
Aegis
Drow.
reclaimed as Tide goes blinking in, has not been spotted. Just he's gonna walk right into Zai here. The BKB immediately popped, even beats the insta-vision from Lamb. And RTK wants to maybe go in, but a blink available from Zai, and RTK, blink gush. Gonna be all that he has for the time being. His backup is pretty far away. RTK, please.
Secret supports his skill a lot better. You're talking about like a weave. How strong is that compared to Frost Armor from Lich? It is like so much stronger. And then of course the Blink Echo from Earthshaker. These are much better than like the Rubik and the Lich's impact. So that's why Secret's able to win the majority of these 4-on-5s, even with Arteezy split pushing.
Secret now smoked up. They see RTK. Are they going to go on him and try burst him down? You take him out of the picture. Pushing high ground becomes a whole lot easier without those Ravages.
He does have buyback.
Yep. They're going to see Ice Ice as well on the Lich. They're going to start with a Fissure. The lasso actually comes out all burning. Can they bring him down? He does not have Aegis. Nice Ravage comes in. The second Ravage now as well. RTK hitting everyone. They bring down Drow Ranger and the Earthshaker. S4 BK beat up. Has the Eye of the Storm going. Trying to bat out Burning here, stealing some decent damage. But even with plus 300 damage, he still can't fight. He's going to be brought down. It's RTK Tidehunter showing up when it matters. Here on day 4, hitting some big Ravages, and holy cow, that is a like 6.5k gold swing.
Man, Secret was so good about preemptively popping their BKBs every fight except for that one.
Yeah. Only Razor got his BKBs off, and I think Bats were maybe on cooldown from the previous little skirmish in the jungle.
But the big one was Arteezy. One small mistake by him cost him a big team fight. Still, they are 1.5 sets of racks ahead. Make that 2 sets of racks.
Yep. Top range racks goes down, and more than anything though, a lot of good farm goes Burning's way. It will help him get that next big item up on the Morphling. And for now, Zhao Wei actually pushing down the mid lane. Has to be very careful. Lasso already has come back up, and I don't think this is really a easy push for Big God to go for. No Morphling with them. He's back up top lane, and they have to constantly deal with pressure coming in bottom lane, coming in top lane. These super creeps are going to give them issues, not just as far as pushing out lanes, but also just going to slow down their item progression when they're not getting as much money for all this farm.
They're fighting against a lot of split push pressure. It's not only the racks creeps, it's also Arteezy just split pushing with Mantis style and marksmanship illusions, and on top of that, it's the precision aura. So like these 3 factors just constantly shove Big God's lanes into close to their high ground. Zhao 8 checks Roche. Hasn't been 8 minutes yet, buddy. Close.
Well, could be coming up any second now. As far as if Big God can get the next Aegis and G's, they are down 4 racks, but is this still a fairly winnable game for them, or are they kind of relying too much on a secret misplay?
It's still winnable. I still think like Blink Ravage is huge. Also, the EB damage from Morphling is massive now. He doesn't have buyback at this point, which is a little risky, but he did go for an MKB so he can focus down Drow Ranger. So now Drow Ranger's a little bit vulnerable, but he doesn't have a BKB, so he can still get locked down by, let's say, an Echo Slam. Like Echo Slam and Chant Fissure, that's like 5 seconds of disables for him.
Yeah, and even if he tries to morph strength there, the burst damage is just going to out DPS it.
So I think the key point in this fight is to eliminate Earthshaker. He doesn't have a BKB. He does have a Yules, which is somewhat problematic for Big Gods, but if they catch him in Ravage, he should die very, very quickly. And I think he's the most important hero to kill. I mean, Bat Rider is important to kill, but how are you going to outplay this fat Bat Rider with 2,000 HP and 23 armor, BKB, double force staff? Like, he shouldn't die even if caught out. But the Earthshaker, he's really squishy. 6 armor, and they also have to catch him without the weave, I would say, since a lot of their damage is physical. I mean, I guess they have like Requiem and EB and whatnot.
That's where, as you mentioned earlier, both Secret supports very high impact late game supports, but their kind of impact versus how easy they are to kill is where they are the prime targets, because both Dazzle and Earthshaker are very vulnerable with their current items. And Big God gonna smoke up. This is their last smoke for some time, about 10 minutes. Gonna run right into Kuru. Does get insta-fissured again. This fissure with 0 cast time.
I don't know why he's standing right there. Look at their wards. They have wards pretty much covering everywhere but where he is. Like, he's standing right here. The ward vision is like circling like here and here and here, and he's standing in that blind spot. and they spoke for him, but honestly, I don't think it would have mattered if they didn't smoke. And that's right before the Roshan spawn. That's a very costly death. Now Xiao 8 walking into the Roche pit just 5 seconds before the spawn. Weave comes out, and now they know.
Oh, they're going to scout out Roshan now. They do see S4 as well. Here comes your shotgun, going to force out the S4 BKB. Lasso on the burning. The Ravage not going to hit. Goes for a second lasso. ROTK can he refresh? Doesn't look like he's got it. Morphling goes down. S4 not going to survive this one. ROTK still alive for the time being. He gets flame breaked away, and Zai going to get killed before he can kill ROTK. ROTK do not walk in the fire. Whatever you do, he blinks to the low ground, will get out. Meanwhile, Arteezy doing, well, rat-teasy things as he's going to look to force out the clip in the mid lane. Chain Frost used on Manta-style illusions. Why the hell not at this point? Will also help deal with the creep wave as Roshan.
Oh, they actually see Arteezy with the Observer Ward. I wonder if they're going to try and make a play. I guess they don't have any catch. They do have a Ravage.
One Ravage. They've got the Fissure on Rubik. I think they've got the Fissure still on Rubik.
Did they recover the gem? Okay, Rubik has ROTK's gem.
Oh, Lamb would love to still have that Fissure, which has done so much work this game. Let's see what the next move's going to be. Shadow Fiend picks up some Boots of Travel for extra mobility. He is effectively 6-slotted, and Rubik as well. Boots of Travel all over. We'll see what they can do with this.
Arteezy, he is soloing Roshan. It's going down quickly.
There's a Ravage though, they're going to do this fast. Tidehunter coming in and coming in fast. They've got the high ground vision with the Observer, but Roshan gets claimed. Kuro walks in, gets the Aegis. Cheese on the puppy. They want Arteezy though. Not going to be able to get him right away. Blink in from Tide and the force off out from Kuro. Gets stuck on the high ground though. Second force off from Puppy will help him out. That was a very high risk play from Secret, but does not get punished. They did have the vision to help protect them, and Big God at this point in the game out of smokes.
Wow, again, the split push threat is just so strong.
They see Arteezy.
There's like 2 heroes dead, 2 important heroes, mind you, Razor and Batrider, and still Arteezy's managed to pressure the T3 and get Roshan.
Needs to go Scepter Lamax. He gets away with the force off, and Zhao Wei gonna just right click down Artour.
Wow.
That Observer Ward in the jungle, just not the first time we've seen it scout at Arteezy. This is the first time though that they punish him for being aggressive there in the jungle. You can't really. I feel like this is one of those times where, sure, Arteezy dies, it looks bad, but you look at how much damage he's done with his split push. Eventually, he's going to get caught out. Eventually, he's going to be punished. As far as Secret's concerned, more often than not, those kind of plays have actually panned out for them.
But this is a really risky time to die. This is 55 minutes in, and they don't have an Aegis on the Drow Ranger. They actually pass the Aegis to Kuroki, which I actually think is the right play because he's been the main focus for each of these fights. They know if they kill him, a lot of their lockdown and damage is gone.
They see Kuro, by the way. One Observer Ward wasn't enough. They see him once more. He's got 4 stuff and Yules, and will get himself out of there.
I think they could have.
They could have at least countered his blink, but he can. I guess he can Yules, like, force up to the low ground, Yules himself, and probably blink out.
It's still worth it. Like, if they kill Kuro right now, he does not have buyback. I don't know if they can kill him twice, but they can try.
Well, Shiva's Guard now picked up for your Tiger to negate a lot more of that physical damage. Kuro now in position to kind of deal with this push. If Blink Lasso in, Zhao Wei is the target for this one. Can they bring him down fast enough? Lasso was stolen by your Rubik. Is he going to find an opening to use this one? They lose Zhao 8 in the front lines though, and that's signal to retreat. Immediate buyback comes in from your Shadow Fiend. He can boost his travel lane. Zai once more. He gets a Ravage off. Echo Slam from Kuro. Catches out 2. He will pay the price, but that's an Aegis. He's going to respawn any second now, and here comes Arteezy. Second Ravage comes out. Catches out Zai. S4 BKBs it off and burning. Low in HP will not get this kill. There's a Grave coming out onto Zai. They lose the Morphling. Lich dead as well, and this is where Secret go pushing down middle lane. Yule's going to cancel ROTK's blink. He gets stunned up, and S4 will say easy peasy. He's focusing on the creeps. Doesn't even go for ROTK. This is looking like the end of game 1 of this best of 3.
That was not what Big God had in mind. They wanted to force out Drow's buyback. That's what they actually wanted. And instead, Zai comes in and dares them to push high ground and manages to take down a couple of key heroes. Morphling, no buyback. Tidehunter
is dead a second time. This is a dieback from Zhao Wei. He's going to be BKB, but the right-click damage is going to be too much from it. Looks like Kuro's there with a Fissure block, and down goes your SF. Lamb, the only one left standing, has a lasso, won't get a chance to use it. GG is called. Game 1 goes to Team Secret. 57.5 minutes. It was a close one. The comeback felt like it was online for Big God, but
Big God's their resilience is really impressive, and Secret's decision making when pushing high ground and defending high ground, I think is unrivaled. And Big God, they make a mistake of pushing high ground too prematurely. I mean, who can fault them for that though? It's like, okay, we finally got to pick off on